Graham, thank you for being here again. I think we had all a good time the last time when we saw each other for the last Gamescom interview. Um, yeah, but maybe not everybody has seen the last interview. Could you please briefly introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's good to be back again as well. Nice to see us surviving the pandemic as well. So yeah. Um, so yes, Graeme Cowie, handles McGeezer. I live in the northeast of England. Been into the Amiga. I've been coding Amiga games now for well, I should say back coding Amiga games now for since 2017, so 4 years. Prior to that, I was sort of Amiga was in the cupboard, but back in the day I had an Amiga, and an ST and a ZX Spectrum and a C64 and a 800 XL and all the other game types of consoles. So yeah, I like me Amiga the best though.
And you're pretty busy regarding when it comes to coding games for the Amiga, as far as I know. And actually, you just finished one very interesting game project recently. It's called Turbo Sprint, and maybe you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think what the last project was I did. Oh, it was Rygar, and I'd done like a little Christmas game. So when the pandemic hit, pretty much back in February last year, I was actually working on a project with the guys from Double Sided Games, a great artist called Ten Show. We were going to do like a little Rolling Thunder game. But I think, like everybody, the pandemic affected people in different ways, and I've got a young son, a wife, and I was saying, right, I'm now going to be working from home. So I mean, this is effectively where I work here now. So yeah, I had things were like thrown up in the air quite a bit for me, and I realistically had to can that project. But I think probably a couple of months later, I started to sort of like get things sort of settled down. I thought I'm kind of looking for another project, and I started tinkering around with I guess I was looking around and I was sort of like looking for more something to do with a bit more mathematics involved in it. So I've done a platformer. I've done a couple of platformers really, and done something with horizontal scrolling, some with like vertical scrolling. I was looking for something a bit more, like I say, math orientated, and I thought, well, I'll do a bit of see if I can do a top-down racer. It didn't quite start off like that, but the thought process was that the school I went to right when I was young was so bad that I was lucky I came out with like any sort of mathematics like knowledge at all, So and I was always envious of the guys who could sort of like do the demo scene where they'd like spin cubes around and that, and it was all like trigonometry, and you guys might be able to do it, but for me it's just like the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So, you can code a game but you can't spin a cube around on the screen. Like, it's ridiculous. So I was sort of like looking for more sort of like get into a bit of sort of like car mechanics, trigonometry, that type of thing, the car physics. And I just kind of started off from there, really. I think it was about April. Started off from there, posted a message on the EAB. How would you sort of like go about doing the car mechanics of a game? And like a lot of projects that kind of you start a little bit, you start with like some ripped graphics, and then all of a sudden it becomes this sort of like big thing. And I think I've said this before, it's like you sort of like you get so far down and you look back and go, well, I can either stop now and like it's all been a waste of time, or I can carry on and finish the game and and get actually something out of it, right? And that's essentially what happened. Like I think I think it's a mindset. You just look back and go, well, I really wasted like 6 months of my life doing it.
Luckily for us all, you chose to continue and finish this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Certainly wasn't easy. You know, of all the games, I mean, I haven't done a lot of games, but of the games I've done, it was sort of like it's one of these things where in your mind it's sort of like actually this is going to be quite easy, and then when you start peeling back the layers of complexity that goes into one of these top-down races, you know, the layers of like collisions that you need to do, how the cars react, that sort of thing, it starts to get a bit hairy, you know, developing that sort of stuff. But it was a great challenge, and I learned a bit maths as well.
actually, that goes well into my next question. Especially, I mean, the game is for stock AGA machines, as far as I know. And were there any particular challenges or technical problems you tapped into? You want to tell us about?
Yeah, so yes, confirm it is for stock AG Amigas. Needs about 1800k of chip RAM to run. The biggest challenge with the game, you know, a lot of people don't realise this, but because the original arcade board was Super Sprint, that is, that it runs a resolution of 512 by 384. And if you start kind of doing up the numbers of sort of like string buffers, and also running dual playfield, you sort of realise that actually each string buffer tots up to around about 100k each, and you need about I can't remember exactly, but about 4 or 6 of them. I can't remember because I like to use like interleave blitz for you know, for fast restore, so I need a post buffer, and so the real challenge actually became the memory in the machine. You know, holding all those screen buffers, as well as all of the graphics in the game, eventually came like a bit of I was having to, as well, the challenge was that I really wanted the game to be fluid, like very little load time as well. So when the game boots, it kind of loads all the assets all at once, and the only time it actually loads anything is to load the next track. I didn't want sort of like music going on in between, because Turbo Sprint's like a really nice fluid game. You know, you do a track, and then it shows you like how you finished in the track, and you can upgrade your car. It's all very slick. So I was really keen on making sure that was included in the game, and that meant a lot of memory management that went on in it, and that was the biggest challenge, to be fair. Collisions of the cars as well was a bit tricky. But when you compare it to some of the bugs I had in Rygar, I mean, yeah, it was like some of the bugs I'd like encountered or challenges I had in Rygar, which I'd never done a horizontal like kind of fighting game like that before. It was pretty easy. It was pretty straightforward anyway.
Many people would ask, if they look at that game, would certainly ask, why didn't he do it for OCS machines? And of course, as you explained right now, the chip RAM, the amount of chip RAM is already a problem here. Was there anything else like performance issues you tapped into, or anything that where you would say, no, it's not possible on an A500 because of this and that?
Yeah, so I mean, if you try to put an A500 into like high res mode for a start, and then interlaced high res mode, it runs in an OCS machine runs in what we would call it's like fetch mode 1, and so it brings in the data into the display like in 16 in word chunks. And if you put an OCS machine in that configuration, you can get a high res screen running, but the problem is you don't have any sort of like DMA cycles left to do anything else, because
no time left for anything else. Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of people, and I've seen it before, you know, it's all over the forums, like, well, why doesn't this run on OCS? It should be easy, but they don't realise kind of the internals of the Amiga and how it works and the display. So, but it's a different story on the AGA, because you can bring in the display the display fetches in 64 pixel chunks, or double long words, isn't it?
64.
Which gives you much more time to do blitz and a whole lot of other things that you can do, where you're not constrained on an OCS Amiga. I mean, as you just pointed out there, even if the Amiga 500 had like 2 mega chip RAM stock, you still couldn't do it because you just wouldn't have enough DMA to do it available to like blit some of the obstacles on the screen. You know, it just become too challenging, I think.
Yes.
But the game uses an interlaced graphics modus. Is this right? Okay. And what measures did you take to avoid that the players suffer from severe eye cancer?
Yeah, I like that question. But it's a funny thing, this, right? Because when I was playing, you know, I'd developed on a PC, and I used WinUAE for my dev testing, that type of thing. So when I'd started it in WinUAE, it has like an option of like de-interlacing effectively. So you put it into double files mode, and I think you drop back a frame. You lose 1 frame, but you gain like a nice, really ultra clear, high res picture. So it de-interlaces stuff for you. And what I did was, in the first test, like quite early on, when I was testing the mode and just getting the buffers working, I thought I'll try this on a real Amiga and just see how bad that eye cancer might be. And I actually have me Amiga set up on a really 1200 set up with an LG TV. So I'm plugging it in and so I'm putting sunglasses on, ready for it to start. No, this is going to look awful. And I started up, and it just absolutely looks like the best Amiga game, you know, crystal clear you've ever seen. And I'm like, what on earth is going on here? And I'm like, well, why am I not seeing the interlace? And it turned out that loads of monitors, or loads of like TVs, like LG TVs, have like this de-interlacing technology inbuilt since like 2001 or something ridiculous like that. And I thought, well, hang on, this is basically, I've just got this thing connected with Scotch, you know, and that's a dead technology. Loads of people's going to have it. Yes, people who, you know, the diehards are going to have the 1084 monitor? I don't have, but, you know, there's going to have a lot of people with 1084, but you're also going to have a lot of people like me who's got one of these TVs, and if they use the similar sort of thing, it's going to look brilliant. So I was like, well, that's what stops people getting eye cancer, buy a proper like old style LG TV.
An acceptable solution.
It's exactly. It was almost like a by accident thing, and I was like, it was almost like a kick to go, I've got to finish this game. It just looks much better on the LG. Plus as well, it was running it because it runs in NTSC mode. You get like 60 hertz as well, so it was like
Okay.
I was like over the moon with it. Yeah.
So.
Oh yes, of course. Should have been maybe the first or second question. I mean, it's a part of this arcade machine, Super Sprint. So, are there any significant differences? I mean, gameplay-wise, or especially gameplay-wise, compared to the original?
Yeah, so the original arcade cabinet had like, I remember it when I was like about 15 or 16, you know, and I go down the arcades when I used to visit my grandparents. They had like these 3 steering wheels, and I thought, like, when I was doing the game, I thought, well, it's a little bit of effort, and just using the keys or the back parallel port adapter and just make it into a 4-player game. So that was one improvement I made on it. So you can take control of the green car. Have 4-player multiplayer on the game, which I think was for a very little effort. You know, I could put it in. I had to change some of the graphics and things like that. But I'm not bad with like B paint or D paint. So changed that, made it 4 players. The other one I did is I tried to change the game mechanics a little bit in that it drops like these little mines. Or bombs, and so, like, you know, they'll appear all of a sudden on the track and you've got to avoid them, and I just thought that'll enhance the gameplay a little bit as well. As you get further on down into the game, it'll start doing this, and I thought that would be nice. But what it is, it's actually, there's like about 3 different variations of each. So the tracks are the same, but there's 3 different variations that it'll choose at random. So it'll drop the bomb. So whenever you might play it once and then you'll not see the same thing again. If you play it again, good chance anyway. So just add a bit of randomness into it. Was that apart from that? There wasn't too much. I can't think of too much more that I put into it. Yeah, it was just those were the main things. I probably missed some things extra.
Yeah, that would have been the next question. Did you forget something and later said, "Oh no"?
Well, I had a lot of people. When I say a lot of people, I had like 5 or 6 people saying, oh, "You know what? Will you put in serial communication? So like we'll go to meets, we can like put 2 Amigas together." And what it was, you've been working on a project. I don't know if you guys know this, but you're working on a project for like over a year, and you just want to get it released. It got to the point where I was having to tweak the track like loads, and like you're kind of doing the taster releases of videos and things like this game's coming, and you just got to get it out there. But the other thing was I was really looking forward to the Euros as well, because I quite like my football. So I just wanted to kind of get it out there, and I had. You probably asked me about it, but I had like some boxed editions as well to send out, so that went quite well. So I had to factor in the time it would take me to do that. But yeah, the main one was the serial communications. I had some guy ask me about, can you put like a TCP/IP driver in it? I was like, I can, but it would take me a long time. And it was like. Yeah, and I was asked the other day as well. Could I do the? So there was 2 versions of the game. It was actually in the arcades. It was Super Sprint and Championship Sprint. And I had somebody ask me, can you do the Champion Sprint tracks as well? And again, I kind of said yes, I can, but it would be quite easy for me to do. But I'd probably do it as like an add-on data disk or something like that.
Yeah, sounds like a mission disk.
Yeah, it's like a data disk thing, and. I put the hooks in the code to actually allow for that to happen as well, Or if I come down later on down the line, I've got nothing to do. I can just yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned it, the box, the big box. I mean, it's a beautiful box again, and just like the Riga box of such high quality. I mean, can you maybe talk a bit about the process of producing such a box? And
it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I was looking for sort of like a decent place to buy, to be able to produce the boxes with like my own artwork, put together. One of the guys who worked on Riga with me was Kevin Saunders. I asked him, I says, Kev, can you put some like box art together? And you've effectively got a template that you download from this website. That's what's it called? Board Games Maker, and it allows you to. They're China based, and it allows you to. You can order 1 box if you want to. Well, it costs quite a bit of money with the import, but if you want to, for like a taster, you can just get 1 box and put your artwork in there, and it'll get delivered here. And you go, oh yeah, that's really nice, and then you can say, well, I'll order 100 or 200. So it gives you a good sort of like good way to look what your box is going to look like. But I'd said to Kevin, I'd put together in Photoshop. I'd said, this is what I'm kind of thinking about the game box art. Bits taken from Super Sprint, but put in some other things as well. I was quite pleased with which way it turned out. We had a bit of an alignment issue on the right side of the box, if you take a look, but other than that...
I mean, to the viewers, just for the record, I mean, he's a perfectionist, and I had a hard time to spot this alignment issue. I mean, it's come on.
Yeah, I was sort of like when I got it, I was like, I'm devastated about that. I was like, I'm just gonna buy another 100 boxes or 200 boxes. I'm gonna send them out. But look, I'd sent out an email to everybody. I said, look, there's a bit of an issue with it. I took photographs. and I didn't have one person come back to me and say, oh, you know, I don't want it. I did have somebody come back to me and say, oh well, for compensation, could you send me a Rygar box?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
which I says, based on that, I might not even send you your Turbo Sprint box if I'm being honest. But yeah, there was no, I didn't have anybody, not one person complained about it, so I was really pleased.
Yeah. You can be.
Sorry, just one other thing as well for the on the Turbo Sprint box. You know, you asked me about how do I produce it. So the boxes are done, produced by a Chinese company. They get delivered to me, and what I do is I basically put order from the UK the other parts, which is like the floppy disks and the floppy disk labels. And then I've got an A1200 with a couple of Kineana drives, which I just write from the ADF to the disks. Put it all together myself, but on the Turbo Sprint one, I'd actually ordered these little. You probably got one. Like metal USB car, and like when I got them, I couldn't believe how good these things were. They were like, and so I said to like the email group who'd ordered them, I'd said, look, you know, I've got the opportunity. Do you want your car kind of colour personalised? And I had quite a few people come back and say, oh, I want mine green, yellow, blue.
I mean, that's actually a good reason for a refund, because you didn't quite hit the yellow of my bike. But well, I mean, I got a Rygar box, so it's okay.
I'll send you another one. Yeah, but yeah, it was great. You know what? I love putting the boxes together. It's great fun. You know, I've done with the Rygar ones combined. There was like 150 of them. I wouldn't like to do 1,000. It would be like, yeah, that'll be super time consuming. And luckily as well, I only had one returned, and that was because of the silly kind of Brexit customs arrangement that's gone on. When I'd wrote out the customs form, I still haven't got a reason why, but it was returned.
But just one single.
One box was returned. I'd written them out. All of them was like handwritten out. The customs form. It was returned to me, and I took it down to my local post office, and we've got no idea why it's been returned. There's nothing wrong with it. I was like, well, okay, can I have my postage money back? And this is where I need to put in a claim. That's all. I was like, oh god. So I sent it straight back out to the guy, and he's, you know, as far as I know, he's getting it anyway. Yeah.
So, any other projects in your pipeline?
Yeah, I'm working on one now. Kung Fu Master.
Mm-hmm.
So it originally started off where, again, I was kind of watched the Euros, got a bit bored. Thought, oh, look at this, reminisce about the arcade games I used to play. But this one was actually, again, you know, kind of when I done Turbo Sprint, as I was explaining, I quite like the technical challenge. And if you ever look at Kung Fu Master as an arcade game, it throws quite a few sprites around. Okay, you know, I think at any one time there can be like up to like 8, probably like 48 by 64 to 80 high sprites in 32 color mode, and so I was looking for a way to actually get that to work on an A500. So number one, keep the graphics in chip RAM. But also display the graphics, you know, in every frame that I needed to, up to 8 sprites. So yeah, Kung Fu Master. The challenge with that one was that I've actually written a blitter routine, which allows me to split the bobs up, and so if you would ever look at the graphics, like the head of the main guy is like, if you look at he's like 16 pixels, but like there's parts of his body are like fit into like like 2 words. So what I do is like his whole body might be like 1 word for his head, 2 words 2 words for his arms, and then his legs might be one word and 2 words. So I've written like what I would call a pretty fast blitter routine, which just takes in a table and can reassemble those frames just by taking the word and then the 2 words and then the word and then, you know, so rather than blitting the whole lot, I've actually split the bobs up, and it turned out the OCS can do it and do like eight sprites, blitting all that data if I split them all up. So I was quite pleased. So I thought I'll use Kung Fu Master as the test candidate. So off I went, splitting out everything up into splitting all the bobs down, writing the tables, going really good, put in the sprite handlers, and then a guy from Double Sided Games who I've mentioned earlier on, great pixel artist called Ten Shu, came back to us and said, says, "Oh, are you doing Kung Fu Master?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "Do you mind if I redo the graphics?" I was like, "Yeah." And then like I don't know, this guy, I'm sure he doesn't sleep, right? He's like a robot or something, right? It comes back to me like the next day, either that or he had the graphics pre-done. He comes back to me like the next day and he's like, "Oh, here's all the tiles." Like, I mean, I'm like, "Wow, you've done that like in one day?" And then the following day he comes back with like the redrawn like main guy, and I'm like, and then I put them in the engine and it like just animates perfectly. I'm like, "This guy's unreal," you know. And
what was his name?
He's called Ten Shu.
I heard that handle. Yes.
Yeah, he's doing the graphics for he's doing the graphics on the Super Metal Hero game. But he works. You know, I'm not going to say which company he works, but he does work in the games industry as a pixel artist. So you know, he should be good at what he does. But he really is. I'm like thinking, this guy doesn't sleep like. So we're redoing Kung Fu Master. Probably due early next year, I would say, with new graphics. If I can, I probably will include the original Kung Fu Master somewhere as like an Easter egg in the game as well. I hope anyway. You know, but yeah, it's looking good. Really quite pleased with it.
I see. We already got fodder for the next for next year's interview. I see. Yeah. Well, I'm out of questions, I guess, for now. What about you, Bernd?
No, I have no other questions. I hope that next year we will have the chance to have a real Gamescom, but maybe we'll do an interview also. Let's see.
Yeah, right, Graeme. Come over. I mean, you can sleep at my place, no problem. And let's go to the Gamescom together.
Yeah, we'll have a few beers and that. You know me, I like a beer. Like a pint as well. But yeah, I mean, if as we were saying earlier on, you know, if the event in Nice comes up again, you know, I really enjoyed my time there. You know, I'm itching to get to another, you know, get back over to Germany and meet more people. You know, that's what it's all about, isn't it? You know, it's meet people in the community, talk to them, and you know, 99% of them are lovely people as well. You know, so that's what it's about.
Yeah, it's about time that such real events start again. Definitely.
Definitely. Yeah.
So
then
let's say thank you for the interview.
Thank you so much again.
And yeah, then
welcome.
Have a nice day.
Keep on rolling.
And good luck for all your projects.
Thank you very much. Take it easy, guys.
Yeah. See you. Bye.
Bye.